I wanna share just a quick story that you know how like connected to your story on family therapy is that empathy actually has a great, empathy can help us in many ways, obviously in the workplace, because it can help us understand how other people think, feel, and their experiences. And one of the things that I hear the most, I'm not a therapist and I don't work with couples, but as these sessions, these training sessions end up being like therapies as
Of
people
course.
open their hearts and tell me stories. But what I find is, I'm at that age that most of my friends have unfortunately divorced. And a lot of times the story is that they kind of grew apart, right? They had like a different interests. And one of the things that I say with emotional intelligence is that it helps you to understand that there are things intrinsically that you're going to be naturally interested in because those things are, just kind of like you maybe you watch sports and that's something that you just like naturally. But one of the things is that when you are with someone, a significant other, I'm going to talk about the personal component, but we can apply to the workplace, is that if I am with someone and I love that person, if that person is important to me, one of the things that empathy can help me with is to say, okay, because I am with this person and this person is important in my life, and I would like to continue to have the company of that person for many years of in my life, if we only pay attention to our own interests and the things that we're naturally, attracted to, then naturally we're going to end up going in different directions. So I can use emotional intelligence to basically direct myself to put the time and the attention with willingness to say, okay, so Kathy, let's say, if you and I were a couple, say, okay, Kathy likes to, she likes opera, for example, I'm making this up, but she likes
I do
opera
love
and I
opera.
don't. But because Kathy is important to me, I need to actually, and some people will think, well, that's disingenuous because you're forcing yourself. But it's not. I mean, it's just to say, okay, let me talk to Kathy so she tells me more about what is it about opera that, that she likes, what is it that she enjoys and all that. And in fact, I can start, to learn more about it, to start to like it progressively, little by little. But ultimately, what I have to think is, okay, the more that I get, if I get closer to that thing that my partner likes and enjoys and loves, and I'm more interested in, and I express a sincere interest and engagement in it, and I learn more about it. You're going to appreciate that. You're going to see it as a as an expression of love, as a gift to you. It'll help us connect better. But like I was saying earlier, it could happen that I end up realizing that there is something that I never thought would like that I start to like, especially because if I love someone, the most important thing for me has to be to see that person happy. And if me coming closer into that topic area or whatever they like makes them happier, that in itself has to be a motivation for me to want to be closer to that.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And how would you relate that to the workplace?
Yes, because sometimes we have, so let's say that I have an employee in my team that comes to me and says, wow, Luis, I need to leave on Friday a little earlier because it's the World Cup, the soccer World Cup, Argentina is going to play, France. And I'm like, it's like, sorry, but like, I like food. I like NFL, American football. I don't like soccer, so I can't relate. And it's like, why no, I'm sorry. You can, on Friday we have this assignment and this and that. We have a client, you have to stay. You cannot go. Because in this case, I'm not being able, I'm just kind of focusing on the things that are important to me. In this case, like American football. And I am not being able to put my world aside for a moment to connect with this person, understand, okay, something that means nothing to me means the world to somebody else. And for that employee to give the most of themselves, to give the most productive and the best work, they have to love the work they do. And to love the work they do, they have to feel good, with themselves. They have to do the things that they enjoy. So then I will, again, I'm using force myself, but it's probably the wrong word, but I am going to take myself self-motivation to direct myself to get interested in something that means something to somebody else and say, wow. And I could actually in that journey, in that vector, I could say, what time is the game? Do you want to watch it here in the office? Let's call the rest of the folks.
Holy cow. That would
Let's
be
watch
some
the game
boss.
together. Let's watch
I
the game
love it.
together.
My
Yeah.
son, they were watching it. They had the screens on. And I
Super.
would say, I always hear, and then we'll end people because I know you have other things going on. I always hear objections in my mind of what my listeners are thinking. So I'm going to throw this out to you, Luis, and then we'll end. I think that sometimes um, going over that bridge into I end up loving what that person loved, let's say soccer, which is, of course, an international sport. And here in America, we're way behind about it. I think what you could do is find something to love, one thread of it, or love that that person loves it.
Yeah.
We're not asking you to now adopt everybody's interests, and you're not. You're a different person. We are asking you to find something to love, and I am going to say love. I often say you can say anything if you say it with love in your heart, and people will say love. My corporate environment doesn't have any love. Well, it's time that we have love, and I don't mean it, romantically. I mean love in your heart, which is respect, care, appreciation, empathy, compassion. Try to make a bridge to the people that you're living and working with and spending more time at work than mostly anybody in your life. Would that summarize it well?
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Definitely makes sense. And I would say that just like if we talk about like a personal, in the personal sense of things, if someone supposedly loves you, but the person cannot find it in themselves to appreciate something that is the most important thing for me. If I am an actor and I am into theater, and that's the most important thing for me, and you cannot even find it in your heart to take a day to come see me or anything like that, I could think that maybe you may not really love me as much as you're thinking. In the same way, I would say if I have a leader, if I am being led by a leader that I talk to and I tell them about something that is really important to me, that I have a passion for, that is, so important in my life, and that leader cannot even ask me questions about it and cannot find it in themselves to develop a little bit of interest in that, I could make the connection to say, that great leader may not be that great leader for me. That may not be the great leader I need to be under, because if they are not interested in the idea that I be happy and successful, they may not put the time and the effort to provide the opportunities and the development and the resources for me so that I can succeed in my journey. Thank you for the invitation, Kathy. It's always, always a pleasure to be and talk with you.
No, Luis, I loved it. I learned so much. All right, people. I hope you're inspired. I hope that we've given specific tips. We're not asking you to turn yourself inside out. And Luis and I are doing this work right along with you. There's amazing millions of opportunities to grow in this way. But you're probably going to have questions like the questions you brought up that people have, like, do I really have to do this? So wherever you see this, on LinkedIn, I know, Luis, you're very active there. So am I. Will you ask us a question? I feel like we're not doing our jobs if this hasn't spurred some kind of question or challenge. We would love to hear from you. We would love to support you in any way in being a great leader and continuing to grow in that way, because that's what today's times require. So we hope you loved it. We'd love to hear from you, and have a wonderful week. And Luis, come back, will you, for part 3, 4, and 5?
Would love to. Looking forward to it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great few weeks. Bye.